morning, beautiful people. Rise and shine. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I am Coach Ricardo Miller. I am sitting in today for Coach Deborah. Listen, man, it's build your best life. You heard me correctly. It's build your best life. And it's based on this book right here. Coach Deborah wrote a book that's a game changer. It's a difference maker. And I encourage everybody to get a copy of the book. You can find this on Amazon. You can find this barnesandnoble.com. You can find this anywhere books are sold. You just let them know, hey, I want the book, Build Your Best Life. Now, as a life management coach, I love this book so much and I love this platform so much that I actually joined Coach Deborah's board. So I'm a part of the board. I'm a part of the organization. Okay. I believe in what she's doing. And so to be able to sit in for her today again is a blessing. Okay. I believe someone is assigned to help you. I believe that when God gives you a vision, he gives you people to help walk through in fulfilling that vision. And so I'm glad to be a part of her community here at Build Your Best Life. Well, this morning, it's a beautiful Saturday morning. I have one of my brothers joining me this morning. We're diving into a conversation. We're talking choices and consequences. He is no stranger to Build Your Best Life. He's a part of the Saturday morning conversation with the guys. He decided to join me this morning because he understands this subject. He is a motivational speaker. He's an author. He's a game changer. Just actually came and participated at one of my events lately. But today we're talking Build Your Best Life. Welcome back, Derek. How's it going?
Thank you for this opportunity. And it's always a great, welcoming to be a part of the Build Your Best Life community. Coach Deborah has came into my life and continue to prevent and just lean into me and believe in me. And just that alone is something that's encouraging when, like you say, when you have a purpose or mission, God places people in your life. And one of those people that has been placed in my life is Coach Deborah. So anytime that I can be on her platform is a blessing to me. And I always try to be a blessing to her listeners.
Listen, Derek, your story is amazing. Coach Deborah, she covers us all. She's a woman of prayer. And we have a lot of mothers out there. This platform is built around helping young men to succeed and helping mothers with sons to be motivated. You and both I have been covered, supported, encouraged by Coach Deborah. Tell our viewing audience a little bit about who Derek is. Tell for those who may have not connected with you prior to now, give us a sneak peek, because they're gonna have to stay connected and follow you. But go ahead and tell them a little bit about yourself.
I'm a Dallas native. I grew up here. Great student, great athlete in school. And I got to a point in life where I let my emotional intelligence fail me. And I started hanging out with the wrong guys for all the wrong reasons. And with that, it landed me into getting into a situation where I was incarcerated. I did 17 years in prison. And now I've came out and connected with the Build Your Best Life community. Coach Deborah, Deacon Dan, Coach Ricardo Miller, and everybody who's associated with it. And these guys have not judged me off of my past, but have saw me for who I am today. And that has actually motivated me to motivate the people in their organization to share my story with them so that I can help them, because we actually share the same purpose. Yep. We're trying to make lives better for young men and young mothers who are trying to raise young men who may not even have a father figure in their life.
Yeah.
But maybe my story, because my credibility of coming where some of these young men coming from, and they can see that, hey, this guy's just not talking it. He actually lived it. And if he can give me some valuable information, I'm willing to. And I just hope that at least one guy, every young man, every time I step on this Build Your Best Life platform, if I could just help one individual, I feel like I've served my purpose.
When you talk about consequences, when you talk about choices, I mean, you've heard those words before: choices and consequences. They're real, man. They ain't no joke. right? Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we are of the belief that choices and consequences are a subject matter that needs to be talked about. Every young man needs to know. Pay attention to the choices. The choices you make is going to determine a lot about your future because every choice has a consequences. Derek, that's what I want us to talk about. I wrote down 3 things that I want us to leave with our viewers this morning. And if you're watching us for the very first time, please do me a favor and go ahead and like this page and share it because Coach Deborah is on to something. Okay, she's on to something when she wrote a book, when she puts out these blogs, when she hosts these virtual events. You need to stay connected. Now, we're talking choices and consequences, how to remember the significant impact of those things. Let's talk about number 1. My first point in regards to choices and consequences, the long-term impact. Wow. The long-term impact. The choices you make today, ladies and gentlemen, we got to teach this to our boys. Right? We got to teach this to our daughters. The choices that you make today can shape your future in significant ways. I said significant ways. Prioritizing decisions that align with long-term goals. You got to tell yourself, based on where I'm wanting to go, based on where I would like to see myself 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Derek, long-term impact. How many people think about it, man?
To be honest, there's two different statements I want to make.
Yeah.
The first one is the difference between choices,
Yeah.
mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
When we talk about choices is a conscious decision to do something. And in that, a lot of times we make choices already knowing that there's a possibility that the outcome will be negative.
Right. Yeah.
But then when we make mistakes, it's when we make those same choices, but with a different mind frame. Because with mistakes, we really don't see or we really don't fully conceive what the outcome may be.
Yeah.
And so that's the first one. You got to understand the difference between decisions when we actually make decisions, knowing what that the outcome is most likely going to be negative, and then just making a mistake. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
And so we can always bounce back. More than likely, we can bounce back from them. But please understand the difference between choices and mistakes. And then when you say, go ahead.
No, I want you to keep going. Yeah.
Okay. And then let's talk about long term. I think that is the problem. We don't have a long-term goal. We don't have what we want to become in sight. I think sometimes we may think about it like we grow up, some young men, we want to be rappers or we want to be ball players. And those things are good things to strive for. But legitimately, we don't have the goals and the long-term vision to see what we really want in life. And so and then once you do have that long-term vision, then you can chart out the steps that it takes to get to where you're trying to go. So I feel like a lot of us growing up, including myself, I just was just basically floating through life. Every day was its own day, no purpose, no plan, and just living through. And so in order to really make those right decisions, you really have to have a goal. You got to have a destination that you're trying to reach. And I feel like a lot of times we don't have that.
Ladies and gentlemen, today you are joining me. I'm Coach Ricardo Miller, and I'm joined with motivational speaker Derek, and we're talking on Build Your Best Life. Coach Deborah is off today. Okay, she's off today, and I'm honored to be able to sit in this seat and to share with you. We're talking consequences, we're talking choices, and I like how Derek just broke that down. You know, you got to know, okay, you got to know that you just don't act, you just don't do. Somebody said, well, I just do whatever I got to, I just do whatever I want to do. Well, just remember, you can do whatever you want to do. But remember, there's consequences to it, right? There's a consequence. There's the long-term impact, y'all. The long-term impact. I believe that so many people, Derek, they are reactive, and when you're reactive, you don't think about your choices. when you're reactive. Also, I believe there are a lot of people who function from their feelings. Their feelings. And I mean, when I say their feelings, now we all have feelings, but I'm talking about feelings to the point where they stop thinking. It's just based on how I feel with my emotions overriding common sense, right? Proper reasoning. Derek, years ago, this fella bumped up into me, and I turned around, and what I did could have ruined my life forever. Now I'm grateful that it didn't, but I look back and I realize I didn't think about the choices. I didn't think about anything. I just reacted. And I believe, ladies and gentlemen, this morning, you've got to get to the point where you realize you have to teach your sons, hey, man, you just can't react. You just can't react. I now realize you just can't punch somebody because, you just punch everybody. The next thing you know, somebody falls down dead. Boom, it's murder. Right? You got to really think this thing through. You got to think this thing. You can't just spend your money. You just can't spend your money. There's so much to be talked about when it comes to choices. Now, here's the deal. There are choices, Derek, that are good. If you pay the price now, it benefits you later. There are choices that are bad. If you do the bad thing now, you'll pay the price later. So if somebody's writing, I want you to put this down, guys. Either way, you're going to pay. Either way, you're going to pay with the pain of discipline to pay attention, or you'll pay with the pain of regret for having not thought through what you did and acted recklessly. Now, Derek, you said you made some mistakes. I've made some mistakes. Let's dive into this whole long-term impact and then responsibility and accountability. These have to connect. Accountability and responsibility is a part of our livelihood. Man, Derek, I want next level living. But I don't want to be responsible. I don't want anybody to hold me accountable. Come on.
For me, just listening to what you just said, let's talk about responsibility. There's things that's going to happen to us in our life that's not necessarily our fault.
Yep. As he just said, some things are not our fault, but at the end of the day, we are responsible for paying attention to how we respond to those things. Go ahead, Derek. You're fine. We can hear you. You just turn your camera off. Did you turn the volume off?
No, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. And we was talking about accountability and responsibility. And so I was saying that a lot of times things happen to us in our life that's not necessarily our fault, but it is our responsibility to respond in a way that better, fits our long-term goals, as you say.
Yeah.
And when we go through those decisions and we have to because at the end of the day, we are responsible for how our life turns out.
Yep.
We can't put that on anybody else. We can't blame our past. We can't blame our parents. We can't blame our friends. We can't blame anything or anybody outside of us. At the end of the day, it is our responsibility for how life turns out.
Derek, a lot of people don't like you saying that this morning, brother. Come on.
Yes. And even sometimes we want to blame the economy or the president or all these different things. These things at the end of the day are only circumstances. Yeah. But it's our choice of how we respond to what we are faced with. Yeah. And if you understand the responsibility of how your life turns out is with you, then the accountability falls into place. Yeah. Because once you understand that responsibility, then accountability, those are basically synonymous with each other. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to hold the people that you come in contact with accountable, because guess what? Through association, you inherit other people's problems. So with that, We talked about responsibility, accountability, and now we're going to talk about the long-term effects of what one decision can make.
Mm.
I made my decision in 2004.
Wow.
It's 2024.
Yeah.
I'm still facing consequences for that decision that I made back in 2004.
Wow.
I'm affected about how I can live, where I can live, how, what I'm accepted to, what I can't do, and these things 20 years later
Yeah.
are still affecting my daily life. So we have to make sure that we put in our mind that, like we say, one decision can change the outcome of the rest of your life.
Wow. One decision, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why I like Build Your Best Life. We're talking about you holding yourself responsible, and you may be finding someone to hold you accountable. That's why I like coaching. You know, for those of you that don't know, Coach Deborah is a certified coach. Okay, she went and got her accreditation. She's studied this thing, and listen, sometimes you're needing help. Okay, and you are raising a boy, and you're trying to get this boy to align himself up. And you've seen Build Your Best Life popped up. You've seen the events that she would host virtually, but you haven't reached out and say, hey, Coach Deborah, what is it going to cost me to have a few sessions for you to help navigate me through this new role, or this role that I've had that I'm not doing well with? At some point, Derek, at some point, we got to figure out how to be honest with ourselves and says, you know what? I don't make good choices. At some point, the consequences is playing out because of my poor choice making. I've been making poor choices, and that has come. I like what you just said. You said, man, listen, I made a decision in 2004. And in 2024, I'm feeling the repercussions of it. Can anybody who's watching us live this morning say you feeling the repercussion of something that you did years ago? Anybody will be honest and say, because here's the deal. Freedom comes from honesty. If you can't be honest and look back, and I realized, my God, I was thinking the other day, Derek, I had joined a matching band. Okay, this church started a matching band for the community. They brought in a professional guy, and he had the skills from college and everything. And the neighborhood round up about 30 boys and was about to make a nice little neighborhood marching band. They had sponsors and everything. My friend and I, we walked over there and signed, got the papers, got home and tell my mom I'm joining the band. They got me the little shirt and I was supposed to have the little drum. I forget what the drum was. I was probably about 11. Okay. It could have changed my life had I stayed in it. But watch this. The second day of practice, we're in the yard practicing, and 3 or 4 of my friends rode by on their bikes, and they was like, all right, hey. And they was like, man, let's go. Man, we dropped those drums, jumped on our bicycles and left. Okay? Right. Jumped on our, listen. Kendrick, I see you, man. We jumped on our bikes and we laugh. And when we laugh, listen, man, every guy who stayed with that band went on to become highly skilled musicians. I'm talking about it opened doors for college. It set them up in school bands. It set them up. Some of them worked for the Royal the Police Band. Some of them worked for the military band. Just game changer. But listen, because my friends, now I'm in church. I'm a pastor. I'm a minister. I look at people playing instruments, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could play an instrument. Some 40 years later, right? I am still feeling the consequences of a poor choice. The choice to go hang out with my friends rather than going to practice and being a part of that band. You mentioned, and I've had so many other horrible ones that I made, choices along the way. Ladies and gentlemen, how many of you could say this morning, you look back over your life, you say, I made some bad choices. And those choices, I'm still feeling the repercussions of them. So now what we need to do is we need to break the cycle. Build Your Best Life exists to help break the cycle. And so when we empower mothers who are raising boys to build your best life, when we, listen, get people to come and buy the book. If you are raising a boy and you don't have this book, you're making a mistake. Well, I have to buy him a phone. Before buying him a phone, buy him a book. Come on. That's a choice that's going to reap rewards later. Derek, talk to us.
And one thing I want to say about this is normally it's not one choice, it's a lifestyle.
Wow. Wow.
Because what led up to me going to prison wasn't necessarily just that one decision. I was living a certain type of lifestyle that led up to that one decision.
Yeah.
Hanging out with the wrong guys, going to the club 6 nights a week, and messing with all the different women just in that club environment, everything that came with it, it became a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so living that lifestyle led up to that decision. So be careful about your lifestyle.
Yeah.
That one decision may be an instant decision, but normally it's back behind a certain lifestyle that you're living.
Yeah. So good. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning I'm sitting in for Coach Deborah D. Smith. I am so honored to be here this morning, and I'm joined with my good friend and brother Derek. We're talking about choices and consequences. We're almost done. But do me a favor, tag somebody and say, hey man, please pay attention. Listen to these guys. Something can be said. That's why I like these sessions. You could be anywhere in the world. You can share this with a daughter around the world. You can share this with a son around the world. You can share this, man, and it's not going anywhere. Tag them in the comment section below and say, check this out. And what we're simply trying to do is help people to say, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to slow down and I'm going to pay attention to the choices that I'm making, because life is filled with life on a daily basis is filled with a series of choices. Mm-hmm. And Coach Deborah wants you to win. I want you to win. Derek wants you to win. Okay. Now this is the right environment, because Derek, environment matters. You just mentioned it, right? Environment matters. Let's talk about building relationships. And this is our last point. I wanted to talk about 3 things, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking 3 things to remember about choices and consequences. Our first one was long-term impact. Have you been paying attention? This morning I went to the gym, Derek. Mm-hmm. I went to the gym with the intent of making a choice that I could have stayed in and watched Netflix. You know, they got the Beverly Hills Cop. When Eddie Murphy came out this past, and I was like, man, I could go watch that right now. I made the choice to go to the gym. Right. Okay. Then I had this conversation to have this morning, and then I want to do some yard work and spend some time in the yard, and that's my prayer garden place. That's where I spend time with the Lord. And then I have a Zoom meeting that's in a bit. But here's the deal. You could be making choices that brings about chaos in your life, or you could be making choices that bring about blessings in your life. Let's talk about association and relationships in regards to choices and the consequences that comes from it.
And when it comes to relationships and association, this is something that I speak on all the time. Because we always hear the cliche, you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang around. Yeah. We hear this all the time, but we don't understand the true value of it. There's other relationships, especially the relationship with, first, your higher power.
Yep.
Secondly, the relationship you have with yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you can't be honest with yourself, if you can't make and keep promises to yourself, if you can't achieve goals and be disciplined and hold yourself accountable, then you can't do it with other people.
Yeah.
So, and then next is the people that you have in your life. And that has been the difference between my success after prison and what it could have been. Because through hooking up with you, Coach Deborah, Coach Carolyn, Isaiah Rucker, Tamika Denise, and all these people are part of these Build Your Best Life and effective living communities. And these communities are founded founded on principles that is about bettering your life.
Yeah.
Because there's no way around it. You're gonna have people in your life.
Yeah.
But you have to be very, very intentional about who you allow in your life.
Mm.
They're gonna guide you no matter what.
Yeah.
You're gonna rub off on them, they're gonna rub off on you. Well, the best choice to make is, if you're gonna have people in your life, you need to have people in your life that's gonna encourage you, that's gonna inspire you, that's gonna uplift you, and not individuals that's gonna have you going down paths that's not gonna lead you to where you want to go.
Hello.
So
And go ahead.
go
No.
ahead. I know you got something.
So you here now, where are you trying to go? And then look at the people that are around you. Healthy association helps to feed healthy behaviors. Okay, let me say it again. Healthy association helps to feed healthy behavior. If your behavior is ratchet, I can promise you your association is ratchet. You catch what I'm saying? If your behavior is progressive, organized, and respectable, I would tell you 100% more than likely your association, the statement, birds of a feather flock together. And that's why I love Coach Deborah. That's why I love Deacon Dan. That's the only reason why I love this community. We got so many people in the chat area. Kendrick Chisholm, I mean, inspiring brother. He's like, hey man, let's go to the top together. Okay, we're talking. Maria just celebrated her birthday yesterday. Getting better with age. Seeing her just deciding that every day I'm going to stay on that positive track. Because you know what happens, Derek? Some people make the choice that is right, but they're not consistent with the choice that they initially had made and said, oh, I used to listen to Build Your Best Life, but you don't listen anymore. Oh, I used to read good books, but I don't read books anymore. Oh, I used to attend seminars, workshops, and conferences, but I don't anymore. Let me tell you something. When you find a good behavior, when you find the right behavior, when you find good people, when you find a good association, a good tribe, listen, lean in, stick with them, and go to the top with them. There's a statement, Derek, that says it's lonely at the top. I've been teaching my clients that it's only lonely at the top when you decide to take the journey by yourself. Okay? It's only lonely at the top when you decide to take the journey by yourself. So if you're going to build your best life, it's just best to build it with others. But then what you want to do is you want to ask God for discernment. You want to ask God for the discernment, because some people are assigned by the devil and some people are sent by God. And if you don't have an acquired skill, let's talk about that for a minute as we close this out. An acquired skill, okay? Then you could find yourself repeatedly finding that the devil, that person who really wasn't best for you, showed up, and then you end up with someone else like that person, and you end up with someone like that person. You say, well, why in the world that I'm keep attracting these type of people? That's because you are not taking the time to learn how to discern good from bad. You see what I'm saying? And so God has given us the spirit of discernment. I believe that if you want to build your best life, you better spend some time in prayer. I believe if you want to build your best life, you need to spend some time setting yourself aside and allowing God to meditation and distancing yourself to be able to identify who is good for me and who's not good for me. Derek, our first point was long-term impact. We want to look into it, okay? When we talk about choices and consequences, you want to look at, number one, long-term impact. Number two was responsibility and accountability. Let me say that again. Responsibility and accountability. You listen, you've got to take responsibility and you want to have someone to hold you accountable. Okay. And then number three is building relationships. Building relationships. You can't go wrong with the right people in your life.
That's cool.
Hey, come on. You can't go wrong with the right people in your life. So here's what a skill that we need to acquire is identifying good people. I tell people all the time, I see Miss Cynthia that's joining us. I tell people all the time, I am surrounded by the best people on the planet. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm surrounded by, listen, people who are toxic, contaminated, and don't mean me well, they don't even stay around long because you know, they're like, you too positive, brother. But I'm like, I want God. I want peace. I want prosperity. You know what I'm saying? I want everybody to have their piece of the pie. And I don't have no side story to share. And a lot of people don't have that. Derek, in closing, as we get ready to bring this in, let's talk about paying attention to the relationships we're building on our way to the top.
Oh, man, discernment. And I'm just going to use what you just got through saying. You don't have people around you that are contaminated, that are toxic.
Yep.
You know what that means? You attract what you are.
Come on. Wow.
So that's why your circle is the way it is, because you have a genuine personality of upliftment, encouragement. You want to see other people succeed, honestly. Some people say that, but then hide their hands in different situations. But you do this, you create opportunities not only for yourself, but for anybody and everybody that comes into your circle. So that's one of the key things. You attract what you are. And the second thing I would say about that is a lot of times we have people in our life based off of expectations.
Yeah. That's so good.
As we hear, if a person shows you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
And you have sometimes in relationships, sometimes in work situations, we see a person for their potential. We actually see something in them better than what they see in themselves.
Yeah.
And so that's how we find ourselves in relationships with individuals who we love, but not really good for us. Because we have put in our mind an ideal person. Yeah. But this ideal person is not a real person. The real person that we're attached to is the real individual. And we have to sit there and we have to make the decision. If this person does not change, if this person remains the same throughout the time that we are interacting with each other, can I accept them for who they are now? And put away those expectations, put away those perfect ideas, and really accept the individual for who they are. And with that, you'll make the right decision about the people that you have in life.
Ladies and gentlemen, this morning I was joined with my good friend Derek. I am sitting in today for Coach Deborah, and it's been an honor. I'm asking you to do me a favor, go to the website, order this book. If you have a young man in your life, you say, hey man, you need a copy of this book. And now here's the deal. If you go to Coach Deborah's website, you can get it signed. Hello, it's more valuable signed. You got to go get it signed, okay? Now here's the deal. Before we go, we're talking about some of the chapters and the areas in this book. Obstacles that can be overcome. Never say never. Or live the impossible dream. Develop skills and talents. Making and breaking. Watch this. Reputations. How to avoid crazy mistakes. And so much more. I don't know about you, but I pray frequently, Lord, help me not to live a life of repeated crisis and mistakes and issues. I don't want to be that kind of person. And I want you to ask God to help you to cover your child. You got a boy in your house, you got a daughter in your house. You say, Lord, I want you to break the cycle, break the curse. Don't allow my child, don't allow me to constantly be living a life of repeated issues and issues and issues. I call it going from crisis to crisis. That's not you. Let's just go ahead and declare, that's not me. I don't live a life of crisis to crisis. No, I'm free. The Bible says, whom the Son set free is free indeed. So anyhow, guys, I am out of time. You're going to have to come back Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturday, all on Build Your Best Life. This platform is always doing it. Coach Deborah is out today, but I'm joining her. Listen, I'm joining in sitting in for her, and my friend and brother Derek is joining us, and we're talking all about choices and consequences. And here's the deal. You are responsible for you first, but then also you have to now get to the point where you start teaching those who are looking up to you to make sure that they're getting it as well. Okay? Don't be selfish with what you discover. Pass it on. Pass it on. That's why everybody should have a copy of this book, and that's a way of passing it on. Man, Derek, it's always a joy connecting with you. This has been really good. And Coach Deborah will be watching these and give us her view on how we did in her absence. And guys, listen, we love the concept that this platform is built on, but we also love hearing the testimonies of people's lives that are changing and families that are taking a hold of the principles and using them for better to elevate themselves. Because all you need is one basic truth that you didn't have, that you needed to have to get you to that next place. Have a great day, guys. Enjoy your day. God bless you. It's been Build Your Best Life. Bye-bye.